Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, March 28, 2022. Give up the criminals. That's the call Prime Minister Andrew Holness is making to Jamaicans, urging citizens to cooperate with the security forces so the crime monster can be brought to heel.
If you have information, if you know what is happening, use the channels and get that information to the police. You will be protected. Your identity will be protected. You can do it anonymously. You can benefit from it. But at the end of the day, you would have played your part in making Jamaica a safer place.
Mr. Holness was speaking on Friday as he delivered a 3-bedroom house to a family in Orange Bay, Portland. The latest delivery falls under government's social housing program. Prime Minister Holness says 55 units have been completed, with 31 houses under active construction. The Ministry of Education will be expanding the use of metal detectors in public schools as a preventative measure to help curb violent altercations at learning institutions. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams made the announcement during a virtual press conference at her ministry on Friday. She says the ministry will be conducting a full audit of the extent to which metal detectors are already being used in public schools to identify any gaps relating to the provision and/or utilization of these devices.
Many of our schools have walk-through metal detectors. We as well directed our schools to begin utilizing, if they are not already do so, the metal detectors in our schools. Our records show that 36 schools were selected to benefit from the installation of walk-through metal detectors. 27 schools actually had the walk-through metal detectors installed prior to the COVID. And we only interrupted this because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The use of metal detectors to identify and prevent potential weapons from entering school compounds forms part of the ministry's response to several violent altercations occurring at schools since the start of the year, resulting in fatalities in 2 instances. The Education Minister is also encouraging principals and administrators to be vigilant and revisit the security and safety policy guidelines to help manage schools. In other education news, the minister says this year's Grade 6 Primary Exit Profile PEP students successfully completed the ability test component of the exam on Thursday, despite the odds. 35,923 students from public and private schools reportedly sat the test across 1,052 examination centers.
As we've done in the past, our schools provided special accommodations for our special needs students. That included giving extra time for the test, assigning readers or writers, prompters or shadows, giving preferential seating in the exam center, making allowance for breaks during the exam, giving interpreters to students whose first language is not English.
Minister Williams says provision was even made for hospitalized students to sit the exam with the help of parents, teachers, and administrators. 369 special accommodations requests were met. A $47 million Elim agro-processing plant has been donated to the Sydney Pagan Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics STEM Academy in St. Elizabeth to serve the school and wider farming community. The 2,200 square foot facility will allow farmers to turn their crops into chips and other products by baking and frying. It will also be used to transition some crops, such as breadfruit and sweet potato, into powders and flour. The agro-processing plant can also dry, mill, package, and store using its state-of-the-art equipment. Students pursuing agro-processing at Sydney Pagan will also have the opportunity to get NCTVET Level 3 certification. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Southwestern, Floyd Green, says linking agriculture, education, and technology is one of the best means of transforming lives.
Part of our vision for St. Elizabeth is to ensure that we have facilities of this nature in key locations that will reduce the sort of transportation costs to our farmers and that will give them the access to the storage and the processing they need to maximize the return on their investment.
During the official handing over ceremony, the Coconut Industry Board and CIG Agricultural Holdings signed agreements to use the facility to produce coconut oil and gluten-free flour, among other products. The facility was donated by the J. Ray and Nephew Limited Foundation following the closure of the Appleton Estates sugar factory in 2020. And finally, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton is cautioning Jamaicans to remain vigilant about the lingering threat of COVID-19, which is still a pandemic as recognized by the World Health Organization. Warning that persons are still at risk of dying from COVID, Dr. Tufton is encouraging Jamaicans to get vaccinated.
Because COVID is still a threat, though the numbers are low, and we're happy for that, people still die from COVID each day.
Dr. Tufton also warns that while the measures have been discontinued under the Disaster Risk Management Act, several remain under the Public Health Enforcement Measures Order 2022, which is now in effect.
It's now an order under the Public Health and Quarantine Act legislation that prescribes an approach to managing or protecting yourself, and by extension protecting your friends, family, the community.
Among the stipulations under this new order is that operators of any place to which the public has access, including businesses, places of worship and restaurants, are to place hand-washing stations or sanitization equipment at the entrance and direct persons to use them. The order also requires persons to wear masks in enclosed public spaces. In addition, those who test positive for COVID are required to self-isolate, while travelers entering Jamaica are still mandated to present a negative COVID test. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.